What is that sudden flash ripping across the battlefield? No explosion, no fire, yet everything stops moving. Is this a weapon we were never meant to see or understand? The footage looks ordinary at first, then screens go dark, vehicles freeze, radios die. How can one invisible pulse silence an entire combat zone in seconds? Soldiers panic, pointing at nothing in the sky. No missile trail, no blast wave. So what actually hit them, and why didn't anyone hear it coming? Analysts slow the video frame by frame. A strange ripple appears, like heat distortion. Could this be energy itself turned into a weapon? Some call it a pulse weapon, others say that's impossible. But if it isn't explosive, kinetic, or nuclear, what category does it even belong to? Moments after the pulse, drones drop from the air like stones. Did this weapon just rewrite the rules of modern warfare? Military trucks stall mid-road, engines dead. Is this pulse targeting electronics only or something deeper inside the machines? EMP experts weigh in, but even they seem uncertain. Could this be more precise than a traditional electromagnetic pulse? Notice how buildings remain intact, yet systems inside are fried. Is this the perfect weapon for winning wars without destroying cities? The footage cuts suddenly, as if the camera itself failed. Coincidence or proof that the pulse doesn't discriminate? Governments stay silent, refusing to comment. If this weapon is real, who controls its hand? Why hasn't it been officially revealed? Online forums explode with theories. Satellite-based weapons, secret aircraft, even space platforms. Which explanation actually fits the evidence? One detail stands out. The pulse appears directional. Does that mean it can be aimed like a rifle instead of detonated like a bomb? If true, this changes everything. Could future battles be won by switching enemies off instead of blowing them apart? Old defense papers resurface, hinting at non-kinetic dominance. Was this weapon planned decades ago, hidden in plain sight? Critics argue the footage is staged. But why would anyone fake something this specific hand, this terrifyingly plausible? Watch closely as clocks stop, lights die, and chaos spreads. How do soldiers fight when technology suddenly betrays them? Imagine this pulse hitting a major city instead of a battlefield. Would emergency systems survive even a single second? Some experts warn this is only a test. If so, what does the fully deployed version look like? The biggest question remains unanswered. Was this an accident, a warning, or the first glimpse of a new era of warfare? If this was just a test, why reveal it through shaky battlefield footage? Was someone sending a message? And to whom? Notice how older vehicles keep moving, while newer ones fail instantly. Does this pulse specifically hunt modern electronics? That detail raises a chilling thought. Are advanced armies now more vulnerable than low-tech forces? Engineers study the shutdown pattern, tracing arcs and angles. Could this pulse be shaped, focused, and controlled with precision? Some reports mention a low hum moments before impact. Was that the sound of power building up? Unlike nuclear EMPs, there's no blast, no radiation. So how does this weapon generate such massive energy so cleanly? The sky looks empty, yet something clearly fired. Is the launch platform airborne or already in orbit? Satellite killers were once theoretical. Could this be a battlefield version of the same technology? Commanders lose contact, forced to rely on hand signals and shouting. What happens when modern war suddenly feels ancient again? Maps freeze, GPS fails, targeting systems go blind. Without data, how do you even know where the enemy is? Some analysts suspect microwave weapons. But could microwaves really knock out everything this fast? Watch the pulse radius hit stops abruptly. Does that mean collateral damage can be limited by design? That precision makes it terrifying. Who decides when a city, base, or fleet goes dark? Documents leak hinting at soft kill supremacy. Is this the ultimate soft kill weapon ever built? If electronics can be disabled at will, does firepower even matter anymore? Military doctrines may already be obsolete. Are armies training for a future that no longer exists? The footage ends, but questions multiply. Why hasn't anyone claimed responsibility? Silence might be the point. If no one admits it, how do you deter something you can't name? Every leaked frame suggests restraint. Does that mean a far stronger version is waning? And if this is only the beginning, how long before pulse weapons become the new standard of war? Defense labs quietly shift funding after the footage leaks. Are they racing to copy this pulse weapon or to defend against it? Hardened systems survive longer, but not forever. Does that mean no technology is truly safe anymore? Armored vehicles become useless shells without electronics. What happens when steel can't protect data? Soldiers adapt fast, pulling out paper maps and flares. Is this how future wars mix high-tech with old-school survival? Rumors spread of similar incidents never released publicly. How many pulse tests happened before this one leaked? Some insiders whisper about scalable power. Could this weapon dial damage from local blackout to total collapse? If power levels are adjustable, could it shut down a base without harming a single person? That idea sounds human until you realize hospitals and air traffic rely on the same systems. Civilian infrastructure becomes a silent hostage. Would anyone risk using such a weapon near cities? International law struggles to keep up. Is a pulse attack an act of war if nothing explodes? Treaties never mention weapons like this. Did lawmakers simply never imagine them? Some compare it to cyber war made physical. Is this the moment digital conflict leaves the screen? Engineers propose shields and backups, but costs explode. Can every system be hardened in time? Smaller nations grow nervous. Without protection, are they instantly outmatched? Even superpowers hesitate. What if using the weapon reveals too much about how it works? Secrecy becomes a weapon itself. Does mystery make the pulse more powerful than the pulse alone? Strategists debate first use versus deterrence. When the switch can be flipped silently, who blinks first? The battlefield redefines victory. Is disabling enough to win, or must something still burn? Old generals argue, new thinkers listen. Are we watching a generational shift in warfare thinking? As defenses scramble, one truth settles: in war may never look loud again. But is that really safer? Researchers analyze the footage again, spotting tiny timing gaps. Were those limits or deliberate restraint? What if the weapon wasn't pushed to full power? Could this have been a warning shot instead of an attack? Every nation now asks the same question. Do we already have this technology, or are we years behind? Military budgets quietly shift toward resilience. Is surviving the pulse now more important than striking back? Some strategists fear escalation without explosions. If no damage is visible, does retaliation come faster? Imagine two pulse weapons colliding in the same airspace. Would defenses cancel them or amplify chaos? Training manuals add strange new drills. Fight blind, fight silent. Is this the new normal for soldiers? Civilians rarely notice, but systems are being redesigned everywhere. How much of daily life depends on staying on? The scariest part isn't what the weapon does, but how quietly it does it. Can you defend against something you never hear? As footage spreads, trust in technology cracks. What happens when people stop believing machines will save them? Whistleblowers hint this isn't the final form. If this is version 1, what does version 10 look like? History shows every new weapon reshapes power. Who gains the upper hand when wars are won with switches? Allies demand answers, enemies take notes. Has the global balance already shifted without a single announcement? Some experts warn of accidents. What if a pulse misfires and shuts down the wrong country? Deterrence once relied on fear of destruction. Does fear of silence work the same way? The footage fades, but planning begins worldwide. Are we preparing for a war no one will see? This weapon doesn't conquer land, it controls systems. Is control the true goal of future conflict? As more leaks surface, denial grows harder. How long can governments pretend this doesn't exist? One final thought lingers. If war can be silent, can peace be just as fragile? The mysterious pulse vanishes from view, but its shadow remains. Was this the moment warfare quietly changed forever?